Hey friends, I wanted to take a moment to introduce myself. My name is Brittany White, and I am a lover of good books and good conversations. I mean, it was just a year ago that Naj and I were talking about how fun it would be if we could start a book club because of our shared passion for reading. And here we are a year later, and we're launching. And we're so excited to be doing this with all of you. Thank you for joining the Britt and Naj Book Club and Podcast. We look forward to seeing you around.
Hey everybody, I am Naj. If you like to read, this book club is not exclusive, to one group of people. We're very inclusive. And so if you like to read and you'd love to join us on this journey, come on, give us a follow.
So, Unspeakable Things. This book is a trigger warning if you have had any essay in your life.
Definitely.
It was very heavy, but it was a very good book. So basically, the setting of this book is in 1980s Minnesota. It is adapted from a true life story about boys that have been taken and things happened to them and they came back from that encounter changed. So it's like a deep sigh because it's like every parent's worst nightmare.
Yeah, and it took, I know we talked about this a little bit just while we were reading it, but it took us on a ride. It took me on an emotional ride.
It did.
Even just thinking about it now. Good, well-written book. A lot of the sadness that came is also because this was a book that was based on a true story.
Yeah.
And I think that, like you said, every mom's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
To think about. Like, I don't want to say too much about the details of the book.
Right.
Because it is a good book.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
Which character you resonated with more?
The most.
The most. Because in my opinion, there were so many villains aside from Chester the molester. It was more, there were a lot of villains. And even if it was just a villain because of being complicit.
Because they didn't do.
Because they didn't protect the kids. But to me, it speaks to the culture of 1980s where we were the forgotten generation. It's like, it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are? It's like type of thing. We were left to our own devices a lot.
Yep. Riding bikes into the woods, etc. Yeah.
Our parents didn't know where we were.
Nope.
We were not.
We were from sun up to
sundown. Go outside.
Yeah.
Drink out the hose. Like, there was no lunch. What was lunch?
I never had lunch. I don't think so. I was talking to my kids about that. I'm like, I don't remember like so much energy being around. What are we gonna eat today?
Right.
We just went outside. We played. We snacked, or I don't even remember what was for lunch.
No. We didn't have it.
I don't think that was a thing.
We had lunch. We had lunch at school.
I don't think that was a thing over the summer.
We did not have lunch. Not in the summertime. No.
I think for me, probably main character Cassie. I probably resonate the most with her older sister.
Oh,
Persephone.
Okay.
Because of not just part of her experience and part of the outcome of her experience. Like, we saw patterns of behavior. I think I can relate to that in my own childhood as being like a similar patterning.
Really? I can remember feeling like Cassie. Cassie made me mad in the story a lot because it just, sometimes you had to remember, this is a 12-year-old child. But her thinking, it was a lot of pride in there, but it was for self-preservation and protection because of the toxicity of her house.
Yes.
And it's just like, I just remember, like, because the way that Jess Laurie tells this story, you can sense it. If you had any kind of dysfunctional family, which we all had dysfunction in our families in some type of way, shape, or form, the way she described the smells, the feelings that she felt like at that house, and like her having to kind of take on the role of, even though she was a little sister, feeling like she needed to protect her sister.
Her older sister.
Yeah. And so it's like, that's because I was a second born too, and I think that's where that kind of comes from, and like thinking so much beyond your years, trying to mentally cope.
it was frustrating. It brought a lot of awareness to growing up in a dysfunctional home.
Yeah.
To me,
Yeah.
just her mind thought processes, how she interpreted information as in her environment. She didn't have to be talking to people. It's the way that she observed and how she internalized and then applied what she knew. She just had a lot of survival skill.
She did.
For a 7th grader. Like, I'm just...
Right. Flabbergasted at, like, the level of... But the fight in her also. She was persistent in her pursuits. She wanted to get to the bottom of things. And I think that that's formidable. I think she's a... Man.
You say, and you can see yourself in her.
I can see... And not because she was the protagonist type thing, because it's not saying that, but it's just like... I think in having to grow up before your time, not really having to be... None of the kids really in this story were able to be kids after the things started happening. So you kind of see the story of how each child internalized that, and how they, even like the little side character, Evie, how she navigated that, saying, you know, they're not going to take my childhood.
Right. And even now she's thinking as an adult idea. Because, like, what kid is actually thinking that someone can take their childhood?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She saw it as a threat, and she did the best she could to navigate that by creating this space for other kids, even though nobody else showed up, but another little kid.
But it was there.
And Cassie's like, it's so stupid. But she played with her for a moment.
Yep.
And it's like you saw glimpses of the fact that these are just little kids.
She
like,
wanted to play with her dolls and
at the park. With Cassie and the hyper awareness. Like,
that stuck out so much to me. Like, I just remember, like, sometimes I have to take a deep breath and just breathe. Remember to breathe. Because of, I don't know if it was triggering, but I just felt like for a person that age to have this kind of awareness and thought process seemed stressful. It seemed unfortunate. Like, you should not be thinking these thoughts in 7th grade.
You viscerally can feel that, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's
she
like,
really pulls you into her experience, and it's just unfortunate. Really well written book. I think.
Yeah, I mean, it is absolutely, for me, I would say if we had to rate it like an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
If we're talking about clutching pearls, I think it's probably a 3 out of 5.
It wasn't bad. It's
not.
Yeah. I do want to bring that up too. I'm really grateful that this author Jess, she spared us the details and gave us exactly what we needed to understand what was happening without getting too graphic for people who, like me, are sensitive, and that stuff will stay in my mind for a long time. And so I was grateful for that.
Yeah, she gave you enough, but not too much.
Yeah.
We typically are not smut readers, but it could be semi-smutty.
This one,
yeah,
it has some smut themes.
So a little bit of smut. It's a little.
Smut themes.
So if you're sensitive to certain like alternative lifestyles, because this is not a triad family.
It's not a traditional life family
at all.
No.
At all. Like, but I think it was extremely, like, she took you on a ride. I didn't find that there was any pieces where it was too much detail, too much information. It was like she gave you just enough. It was concise enough to where it would be a great, weekday read or whatever. I enjoyed the book.
Yeah, the flow was good.
It
flowed well.
It didn't get boring.
I kept me interested the whole time. She did save the climax for the end, and then it just kind of ends.
Yeah.
But you stay engaged with the whole story the entire time. I think it was good. 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I loved it. Like I said, to me, I was like, oh my God, are we doing the right thing? By starting off with this heaviness. This is a weighty book.
It is.
Especially, like I said, growing up in a way where you had to grow up too fast.
I'm telling you, it would have been so much different. I think the way I would have internalized it if it was just from the imagination.
Correct.
But this thing being based on a true story, really made it. I'm laughing because I'm uncomfortable. I'm laughing because it really, you're like, oh my God, this happened in real life. So
yeah, and In the Dark podcast, the season 1 of In the Dark podcast. And me and my like researchy brain, I wanted to watch it before we did this review. But after I read the book, I could not bring myself to watch it just because I could not physically, I couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle it up here. I couldn't handle it here because this book in and of itself was enough. You know, like I could not, I might be able to do some later. But I think Jess Laurie she might be on, like, I mean, she might be somebody that would be in rotation again.
Yeah, I would be willing to read another one of her books.
Yeah. Fantastic read as far as being on, like, I got sucked in though. Emotionally, I was so invested.
I remember, I hope this is not too much,
No,
but
it's okay.
I remember texting Naj and being like, XYZ is a creep.
We both said the same
itchy
thing.
Skin up. Ugh. You can
There
just
was
feel
a-
the ick.
There was a character.
Ugh.
He was a main character, and he just gave you the absolute creeps.
He gives you the ick, big time.
Immediately.
Ick. Immediately.
And then his part,
Before they even what's the word? Like
before they expounded on anything,
expound on his character at all, you get
you
the
just
ick.
knew. Something ain't right about that dude.
Yeah.
Something ain't right about you.
I mean, and I think that was a great way to start the book because it caught my attention. I mean, all of it is just really kept me going, girl. It kept me going.
So, any particular likes or dislikes about this book? Like anything that stands out,
Specific.
like that shines the light. Anything you just did not like about this book?
Let me think about it.
I can't find no fault in it, girl. Like I really can't.
The only thing I didn't like is when I got to the end, and they say that this is, I think women are good at this, and I think people on the spectrum are good at this. We know what's happening before it happens. Like we're like,
Yeah.
I know where this is going, and so it's not even it's not a criticism against the book. It's just kind of like what I did not like is how toward the end I started to actively avoid finishing the book because I knew where it was going. And it was heartbreaking, and so
yeah.
for that, it's actually a like, but it's a don't like.
Yeah.
It's a well-written, but
And I think it's just part of our culture too. We avoid the negative emotions. We want to hurry up and skirt past that. I sat in it for days.
Yeah.
I sat in it for a few days.
Yeah,
like,
you close the book and then you sit.
yeah. It was like, ooh.
True story. I felt that. Yeah.
So I think that it was good that like we've already read this like a month ago, and so it's like being able to sit on it for a month because I don't know if we would have been able to get through the review if
Had to turn around and do it right away.
we had to do it right away.
It might be more tears involved.
Yeah, it would be so like, ooh, like give me a minute.
Yeah. It might have been more tears involved. I think we could do it, but yeah.
Yeah.
More emotional about it.
Definitely.
We able to disconnect a bit from it.
Yeah. And so we are starting this book club. So if you want to read with us, next month is February, Black History Month.
Yes, so Nash had the great idea of like, why not read a book written by a Black author?
Yeah.
And we're like, why
Yeah,
not?
right. We might as well. So
Yes.
next month we are doing
Drum roll.
Feeding the soul. Tabitha Brown.
Feeding the soul. So guys, if you guys are interested in reading along with us, I think the format is going to be we'll meet here again
In March,
this time next month, and we'll talk about it and get some interaction in the chats and in the comment section would be awesome.
Yeah. Like
Ideally.
and comment. Yeah, and then our Facebook, not Facebook. Yeah, our Facebook, Instagram will be linked on the video. So if you want to go ahead and join our book club, come on, join the book club. We'd love to have you. We can hear your insights, what you want to know, like, you know, what you want to say about the book.
What you think? Yeah.
If you've read the book
How's
already.
it sitting in your spirit, honey? We want to know.
Because we need to support our tab, you
That's
know,
it.
Tabitha Brown, honey. And I think this is a good palate cleanser for after reading this kind of book. But you're not behind. Like, if you want to try to, you know, get on here, we'll post it.
Listen, and I want to know what you think about Unspeakable Things.
Please.
For real.
Please
Let
read
me know.
it. I believe it's also on YouTube. There's a link where you can read, but please try to support the authors. I think that's good. either audiobook or something like that, where the author will make their money.
Gotcha. Instead of listening to it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you just want to just be a part and you just can't afford it, go ahead and get on YouTube. Just do it.
Do the thing you gotta
Just
do.
do it. Just do it. It's okay.
We just want you here with us.
Okay, so I'm Naj,
Brittany.
and we'll see y'all next time.
Peace out.